with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew.
Yeah, normally we play that at the end, but I thought I'd put it at the beginning because some of my panelists haven't seen it yet.
New song.
How you liking them apples?
I love it.
Okay, good.
I love it.
Good. I'm glad you said that, Stupenzo. Fantastic. Right. Okay. Let's move on. Welcome to the Nielsen ratings, where we're going to be talking about our latest TV shows and movies that we've watched that we like, mostly stuff we like or stuff we thought we were going to like. And we will cover a couple of other topics as well. But first, a piece of media news. I understand that the Blade movie has just been put back with no release date now.
Oh, no. Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Who was excited to see this?
No.
I'm not excited to see an old man Blade. I know Ryan Reynolds is trying to get that off the ground as well, so who knows?
Right, okay. Good to see a few regulars in the chat. We've got Aaron, got John Stevenson, Wormy Spoons is back. Welcome to everyone, one and all. Thanks for coming on my impromptu late night with Lancey stream last night, where we talked about UFOs. And we're going to be talking about them again in the near future. We may even touch upon that subject again this evening. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't mind seeing a new Blade film with a new actor in it, but I've heard that this has been plagued with production problems, from what I understand. Didn't they do a massive reshoot on it or something?
Well, they've done loads, haven't they? Reshoots, bloody rehiring, bloody replacing one crew member after another. It's big shambles, and it's a shame because Marishali Ali, if I'm pronouncing his name right, actually does seem like seems to be a very good choice to play Blade.
Yeah, I like him as an actor. I think he's a fantastic actor. And I can completely buy into him being the new Blade. You know, it would have been good if they could have got Kurt Russell to come in to play the Chris Christopherson role. You know,
man, that's actually better. That
Kurt Russell in the old man mentor role would have been fucking awesome, wouldn't he?
But this is MCU Blade, isn't it? So he's already been in there as Egos. I don't know. It was a shame as well, because I think he would be a very good whistler too.
Yeah. Well,
see, the problem is with these kind of productions, you know, when they set out for a release date rather than a planned script and production, this is always going to be the result. You know, you have your release date first. Let's work towards that. Doesn't matter how far into pre-production we are, or not, as it seems. So
yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird that you know, now suddenly it doesn't have a release date. You know, yeah. So
is it safe to say that this particular Blade is distinctly blunt?
Yeah,
so it's going to be PG-13, and sorry, you can't make a PG-13 Blade. I mean, it's just going to fail in comparison to the gory fucking, you know, just downright insanity of the original three.
This reminds me of, like, you know, you've been coughing up blood for like months, and you know something's wrong, and you finally go to the doctor, and they tell you have like terminal disease, and it's like, well, I kind of knew, you know. But this is the same thing. Like, this movie we all knew this is bad, and it's probably not going to happen. And it's just like, when are they going to actually tell us and announce it officially? Same thing with these Rey Skywalker movies. Like, when are they finally going to announce they're not happening? You know, then at one point they got to humiliate themselves and say, all right, it's not happening. You know, Wesley Snipes came back in the Blade movie and everyone loved it, and we just can't compete. And the pressure's on, and, you know, we're reading the scripts, and, you know, we're trying to pivot away from, you know, the girl boss taking over the franchise route. And, you know,
yeah, that was a suggestion at one point, wasn't it?
That was like literally, yeah. They had, yeah. I mean, and the thing is, it's not that that's the issue in itself. It's the fact that that's every franchise right now. It's the replacement.
Yeah.
It's not like you can just have like female Blade who works alongside Blade. It's got to be like you've got the new Blade and old Blade is gone, and now female Blade takes over. That's like the formula, and we all hate it. And I think now the producers and the studios are aware of that. So I think they're getting the scripts on their table, and you're like, yeah, Deadpool made $1 billion. I think we're just going to need to start doing what they want. It seems to be working out more better in the long term and short term. And I can imagine like these, screenwriters, really getting upset and pushing back. You're erasing us or whatever the hell they'd say. I don't know. And this is all speculation and not necessarily applicable to the Blade movie. But yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where it's just like, let's just cut our losses and just call it quits.
Yeah, because it's going to be more embarrassing once they release it and it flops major hard. Like a fat pile on a diving board.
There's not much else to say about it. I suggest we move on and let's focus on recommending our viewers something that we actually think they should watch, something that's good, as opposed to a film that doesn't even have a release date now that probably isn't very good. So we're going to move on. I'm going to jump in with my first couple of picks this week. I have just started watching a TV series, comedy drama. It's available on Disney, which normally is not the seal of quality. However, I have to say, I strongly recommend this. It's definitely going to appeal to your partner. And this is Rivals, starring David Tennant, Aidan Turner, Alex Hassel, Nafisa Williams, and Bella McLean. It's based on, I think it's a 1980s novel from Dame Jilly Cooper. I believe it was adapted, or certainly one or two of her novels were adapted by ITV Drama back in the 80s. This is still set in the 80s, which really works. But it's really stylishly shot. It's really snappy. It's got great production design, really good sort of nods, fantastic 80s soundtrack. All the thumping tunes that you'd expect to hear are in like the first half an hour of this. And it's really a sort of story about two rival families competing over various business interests and women. For my American friends, a way to pitch this to you is this is basically Dallas, except with tennis and horse riding and British people shagging in big rich houses. But it's very well done. It's very funny. The actors are good. You've got a strong cast and cinematography in it, first class. I just showed the Inside Man a little bit of it so he could get a sense of it. Do you want to chip in your first impressions?
Yeah, I thought it does look really stylish, actually. Cinematography is absolutely wonderful, really stylish. It does have that 80s feel about it.
Yeah.
But it's see, most of Jilly Cooper's stuff that's been adapted, it's all been very kind of, quite serious. There's been no real sort of fun in them. I think Riders was one of them.
Riders
yeah.
was the big one. That's right. Yeah.
And whereas this is completely tongue-in-cheek. It's a totally self-aware farce. It looks like a proper British farce, the kind of farces that we used to make. There is one thing that it reminded me of, and it reminded me very much of a very English Scandal. Really reminded me of that. And that's why I think previously I'd said to you, it sort of seems a little bit like the sort of thing that Russell T Davies would have made. And A Very English Scandal is a superb drama based
Really
on a
good.
true story.
BBC 3-parter, I think it was.
Yes, it was exactly that. But it reminded me of that a lot. But it looks great.
They did 2 seasons of A Very English Scandal. They did one on the Profumo affair, and then there was one on the gay scandal.
Jeremy Thorpe, yes.
Jeremy Thorpe, that's right.
No, wasn't that just called Scandal? As in, I know they made the film Scandal.
There was the Scandal movie.
Yeah.
And then there were 2 seasons of A Very English Scandal, and one of them was basically yeah, but it was Christine Keeler again. Yeah,
I thought that one was for ITV. The Christine Keeler was for ITV.
I'm pretty sure they were both BBC.
Um,
Pretty sure. Anyway,
be-
but carry on.
yeah,
I'll
I
double
mean,
check.
yeah, I mean, I thought this looked like that. It looked that much fun.
Yeah.
And only having seen the opening sequence, the title sequence, and like 10 minutes of it. Yeah, I'm completely for it. Yeah, I'm there. I want to see the rest of it.
You're right, actually. So yeah, the Very English Scandal was BBC, the Jeremy Thorpe one, and Hugh Grant was amazing in that.
Oh my God, wasn't he?
What an amazing performance! You know,
Mm.
you wouldn't have thought so. He wouldn't have been the first person I would have thought to cast in that role.
Mm.
Danny Dye's put some weight on, though, hasn't he?
I was going to say Danny Dye looks fantastic in this. Northern, what do you think about this dress for Mrs. Northern as a Christmas present? Do you think she'd lean into the big bow affair?
She would laugh if she would love the bow, but not that size. She would laugh her fucking ass off if I brought her that.
This is literally wrapping up your lady in a big bow, literally.
Yeah, even she's not that insane, and she's a very crazy woman, and that's why I love her.
I've got to commend the costume designer on that. I need to check out who that is. This is kind of a TV This Morning type show. Love Claire Rushbrook. I've met her in real life down the pub after a play that she was in with a friend of mine, and she was an absolute riot.
She's been in loads, though, hasn't she?
She has indeed. Mike Lee. She did stuff with Mike Lee fairly early on in her career. I love Victoria Smurfett as well. She's a doll, absolute doll.
Victoria Smurfett.
Yeah. Alex Hassel's not an actor that I'm that familiar with, actually.
No.
But he's great in this. Nafisa Williams is American, I believe. Bella McLean. Yeah, it's really So I guess the sort of the trio of male leads are these three. So the rivalry centers around these three men, and then you've got a similar rivalry centering around three of the female characters as well, who are every bit as important. So yeah, I think this is going to be very successful, this show.
Yeah.
And I think it will probably get a second season based on what I've seen of it so far. I give it a solid 8 out of 10. I give the production design and photography 10 out of 10. And I love this kind of magazine cover posters for different characters. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think Aidan Turner's a very underrated actor. I think he was lined up to be a potential James Bond, and I think he could have been a very good. Love to see what his take on it is.
Yeah, he was. I wouldn't have gone for him as Bond, but we've got 18 people watching. If you've watched Rivals, put a comment in the chat. Let us know what you think about it. If you have seen it, give us a rating out of 10. We like to rate everything out of 10. That's why it's called the Nielsen ratings. Of course, these go to 11. But just let us know. It's not a Succession. Succession is tonally very different to this. Succession is much more played very straight, and the drama in Succession is the style of acting is different. These characters are much bigger, over the top. Like Inside Man says, it is almost like watching a farce, except it's not on stage. But it's fun.
And David Tennant is very quippy. Is very good at that sort of quippy delivery as well.
He is.
And perfect for this.
Yeah, he's one of those actors. Like whenever I see him in interviews, he sounds like an arsehole, but then I see him acting, it's like, all right, you can forgive him for now because he is a very charismatic actor. I'll give him that.
He is, yeah.
So yes, Stupenzolicious and Northern. Try and watch some episodes and report back next week.
Haven't even heard of this until you told me to make the thumbnail today. I'm like,
there's tons.
Mate, it literally dropped 48 hours ago because I've got a friend who's in it and they posted a post on their Facebook timeline and said, "Oh, watch out for me in Rivals." And I was like, "Oh shit, David Tennant," because I watch anything with Tennant in it. And I literally started watching it this afternoon, and I was like, "Actually, this is really good. I'm liking this. It is nonsense entertainment, but the most fun, over the top nonsense ever. It's great. Loved it. Really good."
Oh, you said nonsense. Okay.
Yeah, but good nonsense. You could like Dallas. Dallas is nonsense. Dallas is a nonsense soap, but it's you know what I mean?
Something else.
Yeah. No. I didn't. No, not that type.
I was like, what?
Owen is asking about US distribution. It's on the Disney Channel, mate. I think it will be on the Disney Channel worldwide because David Tennant's a worldwide name. So.
That's weird to me, though. It's like, I mean, what's the show rated? TVMA, TV 14?
There's a lot of there's like 4 sex scenes in the first.
Okay, yeah, it's just so weird to have this like obviously
scene.
like racy kind of a drama show, and then have the big Disney logo right there at the bottom of the poster. Like maybe make that smaller in the bottom right hand corner where we can barely notice it.
There's a lot of sex in this show.
It sounds like a lot of toxic white men who act toxic and get shagged by women. So yes, I'm definitely down for that.
I mean, yeah, but it's all the better for it, really. What can I tell you? There are a lot of toxic. There's a lot of toxic female characters in it as well. It's a lot of fun. It's just it's one of those shows where you love to hate characters in it, and if you know that and you know what it is, that's fine. When you're watching a show where you don't know that and you hate everybody, that's a problem.
I love shows where the characters are kind of assholes. That's why I like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You should hate these people, but they're so watchable and engaging, and everything they do is just hilarious to watch, especially when it all goes wrong.
Axel Zabodi, I believe that's your first comment in my chat on the channel ever. So welcome to the Outcast Creative. I appreciate you making a comment. If you've seen the show, give me a rating out of 10. Tell me what you thought about it. If you haven't, you should watch it. And yeah, Jilly Cooper, it's expected. Anything with Jilly Cooper in, there's going to be a lot of norking. So, or as
but it seems to sort of portray that sort of 80s excess quite well. In a very, very brief amount of time.
Taking the piss out of it. The show knows what it is. It's not taking itself too seriously, and I think that it's all the better for that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's so firm recommendation from me. Tentative recommendation from the Inside Man. He's only seen a bit of it, but he's going to watch more soon. I'm going to jump straight onto my second recommendation. Tonally, this could not be more different. This has just dropped on Netflix. Anna Kendrick, who's an actress that I admire very much. Woman of the Hour. This is also a period piece. This is set in the 70s. This is the true story of a woman, an aspiring actress who went on the dating game. Of the 3 people that she could have chosen, she chose the one who, in actuality, was a serial killer. And he'd already killed several people. She got bad vibes from him, and she never went on the actual date. There are two timelines in the show without giving too much away. One is all set during the recording of the show itself, and the second narrative jumps around a fair bit and covers various other murders that the serial killer committed. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's extremely well made, extremely well acted, clearly a passion project of Anna Kendrick. She actually directed it, much to her credit, I have to say. She's done a really good job. The lead actor who plays the bad guy, here he is superb. I'm not sure I've seen this guy in anything else. Let me just get his name up here. I think he's Daniel Zovetto. But he's creepy as hell in this. Now, so this is, I've seen the whole thing. It's a movie. Am I the only one who's seen this? Has anybody else watched it?
No, I've not watched it yet. No.
I know. I've just known about this as well. This actually does sound very interesting, though.
Okay, so Stupenzo, you saw it. What's your take on it?
I thought it was pretty good. Definitely a good, debut for Anna Kendrick as a director.
I don't know. I agree.
I mean, it was it's told non-chronologically, which kind of, I don't know if that adds to the suspense or takes away from it.
Yeah, that was annoying at times. I could have done with maybe a bookend of that without it jumping around too much. There was a bit too much of that, and there's a bit too much of that in TV shows generally, I would say.
And there is a bit of the whole, Anna Kendrick's character is like, smarter than all 3 of the Bachelors put together, and she's just the bestest ever. There's no real down point for her, but it's arguable that she's not the main character. Like, who is the woman of the hour? Like, she is, because it's a dating game show, but you realize like it's a lot more about like some of the victims that they all have that he's dealt with, and they all have their own little vignettes.
Yeah.
And kind of at the end of the movie, you kind of realize like, oh, okay, it's kind of misdirection here on their part, which is, it was interesting. It wasn't, it wasn't a boring movie, but it wasn't fantastic. I thought it was pretty good. Definitely the Housewives on Netflix are going to eat this up, and I think it's going to get a lot of good, solid reviews. I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, well, other people agree. Interested to see that we've just been, according to Mel, NYC reviews. Would that be New York City reviews? I'm happy YouTube suggested this channel. I love conversations about acting, TV shows, and movies. Well, you've got two people on this panel that work in the industry full time, myself and the Inside Man. I'm actually an acting coach.
Yeah. And then me and Northern English Bastard are just nerds who like to talk about movies on our own YouTube channels because we're autists.
So, Mel, I see that you're a small channel just starting out on YouTube with less than 1,000 subscribers. And we have a special policy on the Outcast Creative channel, which if you're a new channel starting out and you make a comment in my chat, you get an automatic invite to come on. So do you want to come on, Mel? Let me know and I'll send you the link. Bet she wasn't expecting that.
I'll even sub to a channel as well.
Her channel is, let me put the that's the other thing we always do. We always plug small channels on the Outcast Creative because that is what we do. So I'll do that for you right now, actually. So Mel's channel, NYC Reviews, I'm assuming she just started out because the content's fairly minimal at this time, is here. There we go. I'll put it in the chat for people. Mel, if you want to come on, let me know. I can. You can drop me a message on the Outcast Creative Facebook page. If you want to do that now, I will send you the link, and you can pop onto the stream and chat to my panelists for a little bit. So yeah, sorry, Enzo. Anything else you wanted to say? Those were very good points, by the way, mate, about the show.
Oh, yeah. It had. I can't really criticize just this movie. It's more of a criticism of Netflix in general, but like, post MCU, it's just like all the movies just kind of look the same. They all just kind of look and feel the same. I don't. This movie had some great production design in terms of set and costumes, but I mean, again, it's like our some younger than 40-year-old person's idea of what the 70s looked like. I felt like at times. I don't know how authentic it was.
Yeah, lots of orange and browns. Lots of orange and browns.
Yeah, orange, brown, gold, and an occasional red and yellow here and there. But yeah, and also
depends. Do you want to see if you can find the original footage for this, because it will be on YouTube.
Interesting.
Let's see if the costumes are the same. The one on the left,
I'm sure it is.
That's Inside Man's wedding suit on the left there.
That's the one.
So, okay, Mel can't pop in today. Mel, you're welcome another time. So I know we sprung that on you a little bit. So, but if you want to come on another time, you'd be very welcome. Yeah. So, yeah, mate, how many weddings did you wear that to? I forget.
2.
Okay, good. Second one's always.
Here, I got the footage up right now.
Oh, okay, yeah. Pop it in the share it. Let's have a look.
There you go.
Okay, so this is the actual dating game.
See, not nearly as bright, not nearly as colorful.
On the dating game, because this bachelor looking for love back in 1970.
Also, he's sitting on the left.
A serial killer.
I mean, obviously.
Banana, and I look really good.
Ooh, this lady's way. Ooh.
Wow.
Who is that?
Yeah, the lady's actually high. Sorry, Anna Kendrick. She's actually.
I don't know if I could show Inside Editions like footage. I just kind of want to show the actual set. I want to get like a good wide shot here.
That's pretty similar. I wonder if we can see the actual, all three guys.
Yeah, there we go. Here we go. This is kind of what it looks like.
I mean, it's pretty close. Pretty close. They made it a little bit
close.
different, I think. It's pretty close.
It looks a little greener, doesn't it?
You can't, and of course, you can't always tell because of the production grading.
Degradation of the footage. Yeah.
Degradation of the footage. The colors get very washed out.
Although I will say that Enzo has actually made a very, very interesting point there. an awful lot of period films that we see now um, tend to be copies of period films rather than actual research into the periods. It's like Roman movies copy Roman movies, and certain war movies copy certain war movies, and 70s movies will copy 70s movies. So there are very few now that really have this intensive research into costume, into props. There was what was the one? There was one. I can't for the life of me remember what it was, but there was a movie that was supposed to have been set in the early 80s, and somebody had a laptop. It was either a
Oh,
movie or a TV series. It
yeah,
might have been something on
yeah, I remember
ITV.
that. I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
they had a fucking laptop. I mean, but this is just people that are gleaning their visual information off of other things, and kind of have merged the 80s with the 90s and the 50s with the 70s, and are not quite sure of what they're doing, as long as it looks kind of old and a little bit kooky, maybe. That's how they sort of gauge their period research. But
I
yeah,
like
it
the
happens a lot.
I like the more creepy poster here, presumably for overseas sales. Making it look like you more of your typical horror film. And there we've gone for the Lord of the Rings look poster. Sauron.
I like the orange one better, though. It really does look like it's somewhat from like 50 years ago.
Oh, this one's pretty creepy.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty shit.
God, he almost looks like one of the creatures from The Thing.
Yeah, that fucking kidding.
That scene. I actually did research on this after I watched it today. I have seen documentaries on this guy before, but
that last orange one, actually looks like it's from a fucking rom-com, not the one a couple back.
That one.
That one, yeah, it looks like a fucking bright little comedy that you're watching.
I know that's that mislead marketing people. Yeah, but it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting movie. I think Anna Kendrick did a good job. I give it a solid 8. And the performances all round were pretty good. But I think Enzo's right. I think they fictionalized the actual dating game exchange footage a little bit. Because I wrote,
and if they change that, which was on TV, then you imagine what they did to the other scenes that don't take place on the dating game. I feel like a lot of liberties were taken. This is kind of a girl boss movie, not that that's a problem, but like I said, it's just I feel like there could have been a lot more drama. This movie kind of like the trailer makes you think this is going to be crazy, but it's not really.
I would have actually liked to have seen a film about the detectives, kind of hunting down this guy, even though I suppose ultimately it was a young girl that survived who brought him down. So it wasn't like they had a big breakthrough in the case. In fact, they did fuck up a number of times. He was arrested and convicted before, got out, killed more people. I mean, just like that happened twice. I think the guy was a fucking psychopath. How many people did he need to kill before they put him away?
I think it was a story that was really waiting to be made, wasn't it, into a movie?
Yeah.
Whether this is the definitive movie of the story, who knows? There may be another one in there somewhere.
Yeah, quite possibly. But a good production. It is a recommendation, especially for those true crime people. It's going to be right up your street. So for those people that like true crime. My third recommendation for the week, before I move on to my guests' choices, is an oldie from Russia. So I watched this. This is one of the first Bond movies I ever saw. I do remember that Dr. No was not the first. I started seeing the Bonds in the 70s, and of course I've been doing my book. So sorry to plug it, but it is my YouTube channel, so I will. I do have a book coming out, and
Shameless.
guys,
Shameless.
from now on,
Shameless.
what you can do for fun is every time I mention it on the channel, you can go, "Oh, Lance, have you got a book coming out? You never said." So I got a book coming out, and it's basically a journal of my life watching movies. It's kind of my life at the movies, really. And maybe I should just call the book that. I'm still working on what the best title is, but some of the first films that I remember seeing on television are Bond films. Certainly, films that really grips me, you know. And one of the first ones I saw was From Russia with Love. And that was what I've been doing is I found this really great website. There's a couple of them actually, where you can go back and you can check the air dates of what channel showed what film when in the 70s. And there's loads of information on all the Christmas holidays and stuff. Some of the other stuff is a bit harder to find, but in the book, here you go. So this is the working document for the book. So when we get into 75 and 76, I do a big sort of blurb at the beginning of each chapter, and then I go into the individual films that I've seen that are on my 100 list. Now, these are not 100 of the best films of all time. These are 100 films that are attached to very specific memories for me. So it's about who I saw them with, where I saw them, and so on. And there's a whole load of stuff about the Bond. And the first Bond one I talk about is, and I do a quote from the movie, I Give You Very Best Duck, you can see there, is You Only Live Twice, because You Only Live Twice is the first Bond movie that really made me rush upstairs and start building a volcano base in my bedroom. I literally did do that. So I talk about that, you know, that's the sort of thing I talk about. But the first Bond film I saw, I'm pretty sure, was From Russia with Love, having checked the airing dates. By the way, and I've just finished the section on 1980 to 1984. So that takes me down to choice number, you can see the last entry is 40, Ghostbusters. It's true, this man has no dick. One of the best lines in cinema history. But I talk about like going to see that film with my dad and like what that experience was like, watching Ghostbusters with my dad in a cinema that was full of 1,000 people. You know, we saw it in a cinema that seated 1,000 people, and every seat was taken for the first time on opening night. Can you imagine what that was like? So the idea of the book is to sort of take people back there with that. Anyway, that's coming out on the 1st of December. So I've been rewatching a lot of films that are relevant to that book. Hence why one of my choices this week is From Russia with Love. I could have talked about You Only Live Twice, but I'll talk about From Russia with Love. And
I think it was like the last time until Casino Royale, where James Bond was actually a little bit more realistic to the spy profession, you know, and it was
it felt
to the book as well.
It felt like a believable spy movie. Goldfinger, whilst definitely one of the best, it started sort of 1 foot, you know, in the realms of fantasy, and then, you know, the next film we've got ninjas and volcanoes. So but you know, I will still take a ninja volcano battle sequence in a movie over a car chase any day of the week. But yeah, really did enjoy watching this again. It's Robert Shaw when he was, you know, really young and at the peak of physical fitness.
He is really creepy in that movie as well. He barely speaks until later in the end, and he's like, my job is to kill you and collect the lecter. How I do it is my business.
I felt he was it's one of his best performances. I think on par with his performance in Jaws in a way. And really interesting to see, you know, what stuff was shot on location, what stuff was kind of shot in the UK. Because I think the final sequence with the barrels all exploding and stuff, I think that was filmed in like a lock in Scotland or somewhere. I don't think it was in Turkey or. But yeah, I mean, it's a good film. She's a great Bond girl. I forgot about the scene with the periscope, where they've got the periscope installed in the sort of underground tunnels of Turkey, and it goes up into the Russian consulate. That was perhaps pushing the boundaries of realism a little bit. Connery.
I liked his side character as well. What's his name? Pedro Almaraz. He's a very, very likable, charming sort of like allied to James Bond, and it's a shame the guy took his life before the film was released, because I know he had a terminal illness as well, and he was
He had
really trying to
terminal.
really trying to push his way through the film. He was
He had terminal cancer.
Yeah, he did.
And the woman who played the villainess with the knife in her shoe, she had terminal cancer when they were filming this as well.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
there he is. There he is.
This actor. He was great, wasn't he? He was fantastic in this.
Yeah, I think his son's in another film later on. His real life son. I think it might be License to Kill.
Yeah, and I think this is only was Q. Did Q appear in Doctor No?
No, this is his first appearance. I think there is a character called Bullfoy, but I don't know if it's the same character. And
yeah, it's the same. It is the same character. It is the same character. Yeah.
This will make you laugh. So, my dad had a suitcase that looked exactly the same as this. So when we were watching the film, I actually went and grabbed my dad's suitcase and brought it into the lounge, and I was trying to open it to find the gold sovereigns because I thought they would come in every suitcase that looked like that. So my theory being, if I could get the gold sovereigns, I could buy lots of toys.
But stuff like that with a suitcase, that is like real stuff from World War II with the MI6. I mean, the garrote wire coming out the watch, that is real.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did have that kind of stuff. And the gold sovereigns thing is they would give those to the SAS in the Gulf War to use for bribing.
Right.
If
they still use they still use them now.
Yeah.
The book, the Red character, is much more disturbing. There's a scene where they're talking about him killing someone's cat the minute he gets the feelings, and it's really disturbing as well. You kind of like words like that really give you an image of what the kind of guy this character is. And Robert Shaw really conveys that a lot more without it being said.
Yeah, it's a good film. You know, I mean, I have to admit, one of my favourite scenes was the gypsy camp, and they've got two of the most gorgeous women ever having this fight over a man, and then both of them end up with Bond for the night. Which is, I'm not sure that would fly today. But it was a lot of fun. These are the two ladies, and these two ladies, by the way, are both still alive. Believe it or not, they are both.
I think one of them's in Thunderball. I think one of them's in. She's like one of the Ally spies that gets killed by. I forgot her name in Thunderball. The redhead. Lupe.
Domino. Well,
Domino,
I'm thinking about trying to track them down to see if I can get them to both come on a stream together.
That'd be cool, man. That'd be cool.
It would be good. I mean, they'll be in their 80s probably, but hey, you know, if they can do it, that'd be absolutely amazing.
That was all shot at Black Park. That gypsy camp scene, just
right
behind Prime Studios.
Yeah, I thought so because I recognised some of the foliage, and they'd like built all the fake walls and shit. Yeah, I thought so. Do you know where the boat scenes were filmed?
No, I don't. No.
I was going to check, but like I said, I'm pretty sure it wasn't the actual stuff where it's all exploding and stuff. I'm pretty sure wasn't actually Turkey. She was great. It's a shame they dubbed her voice. But definitely one of my favorite Bond girls. I really liked it. I really enjoyed watching it. Some bits, you know, dated a little bit, and it's always kind of strange seeing Bond in a trilby, but I did really like it. Solid Bond offering, sort of 8.5 out of 10. Stupenzo, have you seen From Russia with Love?
Of course.
Don't you make it sound like it was such a painful experience when
it's been a while when I did watch all the Bond movies. But yeah, I mean, this one, all the Jesus Christ, what's his name? Sean Connery ones are so good. They're like on the they're all like, you know, they're the mold that all the Bond movies are derived from, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, it's all the Bond movies are currently available on Amazon. So if you've got an Amazon account, you can watch them. But yeah, so Stupenzo, who's my regular co-host, what have you got for us to recommend this week?
I got like 5 movies to recommend, but I'm going to talk about it as if it was like 2 or 3. First of all, I watched a pair of documentaries. First one was pretty good. I just watched it and it was okay. It's one of those documentaries where I could probably just tell you what happened, and that'll save you 2 hours. It's called the Tinder Swindler.
The Tinder swindler.
Yeah.
I've
I had
seen
never
that.
heard of this. It
Oh,
was
dude,
crazy.
Dude, have you only just seen that? That was like a massive hit in lockdown.
Megan hit me up last night. She's like, "Yeah, me and Sarah, because she's in New England right now." And she's like, "Me and Sarah watched The Tinder Swindler." And I'm like, "What is that?" And she told me, and I checked it out this morning, and I was like, "Holy Lord!" Ladies, if you know, this is true for men too. It's the common saying: if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
If you meet a guy on Tinder who's handsome and all of his pictures are him going on fancy vacations and drinking expensive drinks and having fancy dinners, and he's
Flying
in
in his
London,
own
he's in your town for the day, and he wants to meet you at a quick lunch, and you meet him, and he's like, "Hey, here's an idea. You guys really hit it off. Let's go on a trip to Bulgaria. I'm on a plane tonight, right now." Takes you on a plane, and it's a dream come true luxury trip. There's other people on the trip with you. It's like that movie. What's it? We just talked about it recently. Blink Twice.
Yeah,
This is like Blink Twice, except instead of them doing all that Epstein stuff to you, they basically just, the idea is this guy is a very clever con man, and what he does is he's got a chain going where like his last girlfriend is financing the new girlfriend's dates that he wows you with. And then after that amazing luxury date he takes you on, it's like, well, I'm a wealthy heir to a diamond fortune. You know, you can look me up on Google. You know, you could look up my family. We're into the diamond trade, but there are enemies after me. People, criminals and corrupt agents and stuff trying to, steal from my family and arrest us and stuff. And then one day there's like a message while you're away from each other, texting every day and like falling in love with this dream man. Suddenly he needs your help. There's been an assassination attempt, and I'm going to send you a credit card, and you can use it and send me money with it, and then also I will forward you stuff, and you will basically loan me $50,000 because you love the guy. You're going to take out a loan in your name, and he promises he'll pay you back with interest. He even tells you how to get the loans. I can't get the loan for this much money. I will give you a fake job history. I will say that you work for my father's diamond company. We'll give you actual paychecks in order so you can get one of these big loans, and all of it's fake. So you end up going like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and then he's like, "Oh, I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back." What he's doing with that money you gave him is he's now swindling the next victim in another luxury date, and he's promising to give you stuff. He eventually gives you a check. The check doesn't clear, obviously. Then he says, "Oh, it's because they stole my bank account number. They stopped our banks. So what I'll do now is I'll just give you this expensive watch once I can get the means to fly down there." And it's just stringing you along, And it's basically the documentary about how 3 or so victims worked together. It got Interpol and journalists involved, and he eventually got arrested and did 5 years in time, and then got out.
He got out. I don't think he did the full 5 years. I think he got out like after 2 years, and he was.
Maybe it was 5 months. I don't remember. It was not a long time. It was like he was sentenced to maybe 15 months. That makes more sense.
Yeah. This guy. I mean, he's an utter wanker. Personally, I think he should be doing life. But
in what country was this?
One of the victims is in England, another one's in Sweden, but he's from Israel.
He's from Israel, and the woman from Sweden, I think, is the one who swindled him, because he had all this. Basically, one of the women.
Two of the ladies had gotten a journalist story out, so she saw the article that was trending everywhere while she was dating him, and then she went behind his back. And because he was just lying, like, "Oh, it's Interpol lying about me," it's like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
What she did was she refused to get the loan out, but she said, "Look, you've got all these really high-end fashion label clothes. Why don't I clear out your apartment of those clothes? I'll sell them online, and then I'll wire you the money." And so she did. She sold them all online. She got a substantial amount of cash, and then she fucked off with it and ripped him off. And he was like. He sent this written message like, "I love you and I'm going to marry you," and all this kind of stuff. And then gradually he's getting more and more angry when she's not returning his messages or anything. And he goes from kind of like crying to sort of getting really angry to back to trying to get sympathy again. That was the most fun part of this for me. But yeah, he was a brilliant actor, absolutely, and a cunt.
Yeah.
He's talking. I think he's talking about Roddy McDowell, Adrian.
Oh, is he? Well, this guy was a brilliant actor,
but this guy was also a pretty good actor, or at least I think it's also the girls are clouded, by that's the thing. It is crucial in order to steal money from them. You have to show this you have to take them on a private jet. You have to give them like caviar and champagne, and after that they will literally like lick the dirt off your boot, because they're crazy like that. They just like, oh, it'll work out. This idea of the Prince Charming coming to rescue you. And men, similar story, like a beautiful woman totally interested in you and for no reason, she's going to harvest your organs or something. There's something going on. You gotta be on alert, especially when things this serious are moving this quickly. And it just seems too good to be true, man. Just follow your gut. But sometimes with the opulent luxury dates, like, your gut, your judgment is clouded,
Well, in the unlikely event that your partner didn't watch this when it dropped, because it was massive news when it dropped, which is why I can't believe that Enzo hasn't heard of it before. But in that unlikely event, then check it out, because it is quite compelling. It's pretty compelling viewing. You won't be able to.
The other documentary I saw was pretty new. It came out a month ago, and we talked about it last week. But I forgot this movie came out, and nobody's talking about it. It was Casa Bonito, Mi Amor.
Oh, mate, I watched it. Thank you for the recommendation. I'm so glad. I'm so glad I saw it.
Now, to be fair, it isn't like the craziest thing ever, but if you love Kitchen Nightmares, it's like one of the best episodes of Kitchen Nightmares ever. So I recommend it. It's basically like Kitchen Nightmares, but instead of Gordon Ramsay, it's Trey Parker running around doing South Park voices most of the movie.
I think we can show the trailer for it, because didn't we show the trailer for it before?
We showed it last week. Yeah, but I loved it. I found it very applicable to our little YouTube sphere. I think everyone could relate to it on a larger level, because Trey Parker trying to resurrect and improve his childhood Chuck E. Cheese. It's basically a giant Mexican restaurant amusement park that is dilapidated and in debt and closed because of the pandemic. You can play the trailer.
Let's watch the trailer. You guys can see.
Hello, welcome to Casa Bonita. Anyone's parents divorced?
We call Casa Bonita the Mexican restaurant Disneyland.
When you grew up in Colorado, you just remember how awesome it was.
When I was a kid, there was a dream that one day I could own Casa Bonita.
I am going to Casa Bonita.
Why do you think Casa Bonita is so important to Trey?
Cliff divers, caves to explore. It made it feel like a dream.
Fans of Casa Bonita have been missing this iconic restaurant for more than a year.
The kid in me was just like, hey, you want to buy Disneyland? I could do that.
Creators of South Park purchased the iconic Casa Bonita, a fine dining restaurant.
Are you guys just playing around?
No, we are renovating and opening an amazing restaurant.
Welcome to Casa Bonita.
Howdy, partner. Tarnation. And we can't afford to build
Tarnation.
Do that. We've inherited this building that is fucked.
$4 million for HVAC, new kitchen. That's probably in the 2 range.
Have you ever seen Kitchen Nightmares? This is what every air duct looks like.
It's the most dangerous thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
We have 2 days.
I expect all the drama to cease.
Oh my God, this isn't ready. Tensions are high.
Is like a possibility that it just never opens?
Yeah, it is.
I've never done anything like this.
Any savvy business person would say, get out now. That's not the point. I better go start making some new TV shows.
What I loved about it, obviously it's pretty funny and it's pretty crazy watching the renovations. $40 million they ended up spending. They thought they were going to spend like $8 million. Plus they bought the place for $3 million. So they really hauled up the place. But what was great was, there's a lot of talk like, should we bail? Should we call it quits? Should we cut our losses? Should we do Blade the movie and just put it on hold indefinitely. And Trey Parker was like, no, it's not about the money. It's about sending a message. You know, it's about preserving this thing that I personally loved as a child, and millions of other children loved it. And two things I really liked about it. First of all, we need to go back to this, like, thinking about things for the kids. I've been talking about this on my Halloween streams. Like, the reason why trick-or-treating is down, the reason why Halloween isn't getting celebrating is because we adults are dropping the ball and not targeting Halloween towards the kids. We're all targeting it to ourselves. We want to go out to the bars. We want to go to the parties. And it's like, we got to really think about the trick-or-treaters first. We got to start tailoring McDonald's to the children again, and not, this, brutalist efficiency machine that the whole goal is to get you in and out of the place as fast as possible. We need to go back to having commercials. I've been watching old commercials on TV from the 90s, and everything's targeted towards kids, even if it's not necessarily a children's product. And because of that, it gives everyone like a sense of hope, a sense of the future. I think we're purposely being told, like, to just, like, think about ourselves and kind of just, just be in this dopamine cycle, this dopamine chasing cycle until we die. And
You
just
heard
pay our
it here
bills.
first, people. The counter-revolution started today on the Outcast.
Yeah,
TV
have some
channel.
kids, guys, and start thinking about the future. The future generations. Start thinking about how much fun these kids are going to have at your thing. It's important when you see little kids like smiling and enjoying themselves.
That's a really interesting thing. It's a really, really interesting point, because here in the UK, I mean, we have so many acts of parliament that have gone through and been passed, whereby advertisers are now prohibited from targeting children for certain products. So many of these acts have gone through Parliament and now been passed as law. That's one of the reasons why we don't have this kind of thing in the UK anymore.
Yeah. And also the other thing that I really thought the documentary was really speaking to me on a personal level with was like this idea of like preserving things you love. Like, how many of us, if we had hundreds of millions of dollars to blow on whatever, who of us amongst us would think it'd be cool to just like save Star Wars or Doctor Who or whatever? It doesn't matter if we don't make money. Like, it's all about just coming back and erasing this horrible stuff from the present that's happening right now with the current state of things, and just kind of improving things.
My God, that's an amazing idea for a crowdfunding campaign. We're going to save Star Wars. I mean, if it wasn't for the licensing and copyright,
legally, it'd be.
And all the legal shit that would come. But if you could do that, that would be massively successful. If
it was like a genie could make it possible. How many of us would just be like, dude, put me in charge of Lucasfilm, like, just for fun.
Yeah.
Because I mean, how bad could I actually make it? I couldn't make, like, I don't know a damn thing about running Lucasfilm, probably, but I mean, I think I could. I mean, if it does go down in flames, it was already going down in flames,
Mate,
so it's not like
you'd turn to people like me and the Inside Man who know what we're doing, and we'd be assisting you there, so you'd be all right. That is a really good point. That the core message of this is kind of preserving something that was good in its heyday, and also improving it for a younger audience, not changing it so that they don't recognize it, but polishing it, making it slightly better. Because the time I knew that they were serious, so I like the whole section about, you will have loved this section as well, Enzo, when they went after the chef. They found out who was the best Mexican chef in the area, and everybody kept mentioning this woman, and so they basically bought her out of her present job, and they said, right, we want to give you you're going to design the menu, you're going to be the lead chef, you're going to design the kitchen. She was a great character, and she didn't she fall in love with the building production manager?
Yeah. They ended up coupling up. Yeah,
that's kind of a sweet story.
Her name was Logue, and she got the name because she's like, crazy, fiery Latina chick, and she lives in Colorado. She's like a cook at some Mexican joint, and she runs some upscale Mexican places. And what was great is when they asked her, like, what are you doing to the menu? I can't remember exactly what she said, but she was basically like, we're changing. It's like, we're going to change everything, but like everything stays the same. Like we're going to keep everything, but it's all going to be better. It's like, I can't remember exactly the word she used, but it was like, the essence of what we're doing. Like, we're remaking everything, but it's all, it's going to be the same, but better. We're not here to change everything. Like, because that was the thing. Apparently Casa Bonita it's kind of like Hooters, where it's like the food's not great, but you don't really go for the food. That seems to be the general complaint. Like, oh yeah, it's an amusement park, it's got water slides and caves. The food sucks though, but who cares? So that seemed to be like the main thing. Like, and some people were talking about don't change the food. The food should be shitty. But yeah, I mean, the thing about Mexican food, man, I mean, I could open a Mexican food joint. It's like enchiladas. You just need a really good recipe for some rice, some beans. You need to make your own tortillas, and then the rest just kind of falls into place, man. As long as you know how to, do some fajitas, make some chicken. I mean, it's not hard. Tamales, enchiladas, burritos. I mean, it's one of those things. That's why Taco Bell's so successful. They have 3 items, and they just keep like crossbreeding the items to make 50 items. You get like your rice, your beans, your tortillas, your different types of meat, lettuce, tomatoes, cheese, various other vegetables. And then, you just create a menu with those simple items.
Jesus Christ, I'm hungry. I'm hungry
Enzo,
now.
give us one other of your picks before I move on to my other guests.
Okay. Well, we talked about these last week, and I did like a little double feature. Now, this is so weird. These movies are kind of cheesy and not the best. I liked them. I thought they were cute. But I watched them totally randomly in no particular order for no reason. I just decided to do this and follow it up with that other one. I watched, first of all, we talked about last week, we're talking about Neil Jordan. I realized he made a bunch of movies I haven't seen, and I'm going to check them out. But one of them I realized he did do that I knew about that I never saw was Steve Guttenberg starring in High Spirits with Daryl Hannah.
Yeah, I worked on that. I worked on
Right.
that movie.
Right.
All right,
We
let's
talked about
talk
this.
about it.
So
Let's talk
briefly, I did watch it. I thought it was pretty cute, cringe, cheesy, 80s. It's a romantic comedy about ghosts. Peter O'Toole owns a castle / inn, and they're going to create this hype that the place is actually haunted in order to stir up interest to people to rent out the place. So a big gaggle of tourists come in, rent the place out, and it turns out the place actually is haunted. And all sorts of spirit hijinks happen because there's like a romance between a living guy and a ghost. And Liam Neeson's in it, and so's Beverly D'Angelo, and it was fun. So it was okay. I'd give it like, I don't know, a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. It was fun.
I
very British.
I thought it was. I mean, considering it was supposed to be a comedy, I thought.
Now here's where it gets weird. Because I was also in a spooky comedy kind of mood because it's October. I was like, okay, well, this movie is also suggested to me, and I will just watch it. It is called Elvira's Haunted Hills, which is obviously a boob joke. But Elvira did a sequel to Mistress of the Dark that I never saw. And Elvira is basically in the 1600s England or whatever, the 1500s. She's basically like a timeless character living in the past, doing the same shtick, and her portly lady friend are on a countryside journey, and they have a adventure in another haunted castle. And I was like, when did this movie come out? Like 1980 something, 1990s? I looked it up. It came out in 2001. I was like, oh my God. Oh, wow. I didn't realize it had come out so late. But what was interesting, and this is where it gets nuts, it turns out it was filmed in the same set that High Spirits was filmed in.
Really?
And it's like, what are the astronomical
same
odds?
Location.
The same,
the exact
the
same
interior
locations.
set. Yeah, exactly. It's basically the same interior sets too. And I didn't even click.
What's the full title of the Elvira movie?
Elvira's Haunted Hills.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, like watching High Spirits, I told you why I watched High Spirits. We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
Picking Elvira's Haunted Hills for no reason after that. And keep in mind, it wasn't like in my suggested videos, like after I watched High Spirits. I had already put High Spirits in the list of things to watch. And then a few days later, Elvira's Haunted Hills came up, and I saved it to my watch later list separately. Okay. And I chose to watch those two movies back to back for no reason. And the odds, like, what are the odds? Like, seriously, I need a mathematician in here. They're astronomical. The idea that this movie made 20 something years later, about 20 years later, the fact that this came out, it was filmed in the same place, was like, what? Weird synchronisms. But yeah, this movie I'd give like a 4 or a 3 out of 10. I'd give it a 3 out of 10, but Elvira's Haunted Hills.
Richard O'Brien in it. That's the guy who created the Rocky Horror Show, for anyone who doesn't know.
Totally. Yeah, and I was reading all about it and how this guy was a huge fan of them, and it was definitely one of those movies where everyone's having fun. There were some great gags. Obviously, there's a lot of good boob jokes in it. It's Elvira. There's a handsome, gorgeous, muscly, like stable man who works at the castle, who like Elvira's like got the hots for. And what's so funny is like they wanted Fabio to do it, and Fabio's obviously too expensive. So they got some, gorgeous, like Italian muscle man, but he couldn't speak a word of English. So they intentionally like dub him over badly. And Elvira's like, "What's going on with your voice?" It's like a thing they like bring up. So it's actually pretty good.
Actually,
it's actually pretty good. Yeah. And he's like, "Elvira, I'm here to save you. I love you." And it's just like, oh my god. So yeah, it was cute. It was cute. Same thing with High Spirits. Like it wasn't trash. It put a smile on my face, even though it was dumb and cheap. And it didn't take itself too seriously. Both of these movies, I'd give a 5 or 6, an enthusiastic 5 out of 6, 5 or 6 out of 10. So yeah. Anyway, I thought I'd just bring those two up. Just
they
for
clearly filmed part of it in Eastern Europe.
Yeah, it's cheaper. It was cheaper to film it on location.
That's interesting. Okay.
Hell yeah.
All right. Okay. Inside Man, what you got for us this week? Waiting patiently.
Well, it was something that I spoke to Enzo about the other week, and it's the Witchfinder General with Vincent Price. I happened to mention it on Enzo's stream, yeah, and I thought, I'm actually I haven't seen it for a while, so I thought I'd give it a go.
How did it hold up?
Vincent Price.
How did it hold up? There's more than one version.
Not bad.
I think.
Well, it's I mean, it's still got that kind of typical British sort of folk horror feel about it. That there's slightly sort of Wicker Man feel about it. So it's Matthew Hopkins who plays Witchfinder General, played by Vincent Price, and he's traveling around various villages in East Anglia, so Suffolk and Norfolk in particular, and numerous people are accusing others of being witches. And he's extracting confessions by rather violent means. And of course, it's set during the time of the English Civil War. So we have a soldier who's part of Cromwell's army, Cromwell's New Model Army, and he has his betrothed, who is the niece of a local priest who's been accused of consorting with the devil. So, and of course, he becomes rather a victim of Matthew Hopkins and his assistant, through torture. So, and of course,
that's the director, isn't it, Michael Reeves?
Yes,
in that shot,
but it's got Ian Ogilvy.
Yeah, the Saint.
Yeah, and strangely, the connection between Ian Ogilvy and Vincent Price is they both played the Saint.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so he was the Saint in 1950s radio series, which is actually pretty good. But
this guy here looks like Bill Oddie. This guy looks like Bill Oddie.
It's got some real sort of stalwart British actors. Wilfrid Bramble's in it. Tony Selby's in it. Patrick Wymar's in it. So yeah, it's a very, very good British folk horror. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's not a pleasant film, to be fair. Because as we know, this kind of stuff did go on around East Anglia. I mean, not far from where I am. I mean, this thing did happen. All these things with Matthew Hopkins did happen.
Did you remember the episode with the Witchfinder General in it of Sword Divided? Do you remember Sword Divided, the BBC drama set in the English Civil War?
I do remember.
And I remember the scene where they're dunking the woman under the water to see if she's a witch or not. And of course, if she survives, she's a witch. And she comes up and the guy cheers and goes, "Yes, she's not a witch." And the woman says, "Yes, but she be dead, my lord. What use is that?" I always remember that scene, and it's just like the nonsense of that whole thing. It's just utterly ridiculous.
Inside Number 9 did a very good Inside Number 9 did a very good sort of homage to Witchfinder General, and I think it's called The Trial of Elizabeth Gadge. It's a very, very good episode. But it was kind of gleaned from one of the Halloween episodes of The Simpsons, to be fair. Pretty
Right,
much
right,
verbatim.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. But this movie, yeah, I enjoyed it, and Vince. It's always good to see Vincent Price.
What would you give it out of 10?
A definite 8. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I've not seen it for probably over 10 years, but I'd give it about the same, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it's very, very creepy. It sort of does retain that awful sort of creepiness and that sense of foreboding, as they say. Yeah, very good film.
Predominantly filmed on location around East Anglia.
Yeah, yeah.
Interiors were filmed in aircraft hangars in Bury St Edmunds and Suffolk.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, all East Anglia. Yeah.
Exteriors were shot on the Dunwich coast. I've been there. And Black Park. Good old Black Park again.
Good old Black Park. Yeah.
Good old Black Park. Yeah. The Space 1999. Many a Planet was shot on Black Park.
Yeah.
So this shot here then must be on location. They must have beefed this up a little bit, but this must be an actual. These must. I mean, certainly the pink buildings on the right are definitely real. I would think.
Yeah. Yeah.
This might be a facade, but it's difficult to tell.
I mean, most of these little villages in East Anglia are pretty much the same as they were hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, they've come and basically, if this is the town square, they've come and poured a shitload of sawdust over all the roads, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Which was the common tactic back in the day for redressing a modern set, you know. Yeah, interesting. Good choice. Good choice. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's a good one for sure.
I believe it is available on YouTube at the moment. I'm not sure how good a copy it is on YouTube.
I thought for a minute that was the Manor-born guy, but it's not. It's Hillary.
It's quite funny because Wilfred Bramble's in it.
Oh, is he?
Plays,
Harold.
Harold, you dirty old lad.
Dirty old man.
Yeah.
Inside Man, give us another one quickly.
Well, I'm actually going to go with The Wicker Man. Funny enough.
Oh my god!
The original one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good one.
I'm sure you've mentioned that before, haven't you?
I think it was when we did our top 5 horror movies.
Way
back
right.
when.
Yeah. All right, I'll give you that.
This is arguably one of the best British horror movies of all time, if not one of the best horror movies of all time. The story of Sergeant Howie.
Yeah, Edward Woodward, isn't it?
Yeah, Sergeant Howie visits a remote Scottish island after the disappearance of a young girl. And of course, as we now know, he's duped into going over there. And they have, they're basically pagans. So they've abandoned all forms of religion and Christianity in favor of paganism. And they are required to have a virgin sacrifice. And of course, that sacrifice is, as we know, Edward Woodward, who puts in an amazing performance, absolutely incredible performance.
I remember when I saw this for the first time, I was probably about 13, and it was one of the ones I kind of watched upstairs in my own room. Suddenly there was all these like naked ladies sort of dancing around in this room, you know,
naked,
feeling up the wall, and I was like, "Oh, hello, what's going on here?" You know?
Oh yeah, Brett Eklund. Fucking hell, that man, that was.
Yeah.
I think someone actually accused her of having a body double, and no, that's my ass. I take credit for it. She's,
Yes, it was because she couldn't be filmed above the. Let's just say below the breasts, she was heavily pregnant at the time, so she had a body double. She did actually have a body double.
Right.
So she didn't want her bump filmed, and obviously they couldn't film her bump. But yeah, so when she sort of went, you know, they brought in a body double from behind, and she was most distressed because she claimed that the body double had a fatter ass than she had.
Right.
Yeah. Apparently, she wasn't particularly nice on the set, according to Christopher Lee.
There's what's his name, who I interviewed on the channel, did a book about the making of this, didn't he?
That's right. Yes, he did. Yeah. It's a book that I still have to get hold of.
And he said that, you know, there's pretty much almost no one left alive who worked on this. And you know, they've been interviewing sort of like brothers and sisters and partners of people. For the book, for their record. I mean, I don't know if Jerry Cowper is still going.
I know there was a documentary made where they revisited the island because people go there every year, and the remnants of the Wicker Man's legs are still there to this day. They are still there. Yeah,
That is
as
awesome.
they were
She's-
firmly
she-
planted in the ground. Yeah.
She's still alive. And she's been on EastEnders. She's done 191 episodes of EastEnders, so that was her penance for burning Edward Woodward.
Yeah. But it has the lovely Ingrid Pitt in it as well.
Yeah, I love Ingrid Pitt, who was once the occasional boyfriend of Clint Eastwood when they were filming Where Eagles Dare.
Lucky old Clint.
I did all this weird shit that was like in the you know, what should be like a children's sweet shop. And if you look at it, it's all like, this looks like the Black Rabbit of Ephra from Watership Down, you know, when you see it all creepy galloping through the hills. And then, well, I don't know what this thing here is supposed to be, but you know, one's imagination can only And funnily enough, these are the foreskin props from the other shot of the jar. If you look, they've reused them again.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And it has actually has one of my favorite soundtracks as well. It's just an incredible soundtrack with these amazing, creepy sort of pagan folk songs. It's really, oh my god, yeah.
I agree,
It's
man. I
brilliant.
agree.
It's just brilliant. But what's interesting about this film is that the version that we know now, which is the restored print, and it's as restored as it possibly can be, because when it was first released, there was so much material that was cut from it, so many scenes that were removed from this movie, and Christopher Lee for decades had been trying to track it down because he says that this was his favorite movie, the best film that he's ever been in.
Yeah, he did it for free, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's been trying to track down all of this footage that was missing, and everybody had claimed that what happened was somebody had taken over the studio, and they decided that they wanted they weren't that fussed about stuff that had already been in production that was being edited, you know, from the previous owners of the studio. So they discarded most of the edited footage, and they claimed that they put it into some kind of reclamation site or something like that, and they just literally just dumped it, buried it, etc., which used to happen with a lot of discarded footage and negs. But he spent decades trying to track this down, and there was no sign of any of it. But what transpired was that when the movie had one of its original edits, a copy was sent over to Roger Corman for him to view, and he
still had it.
He still had it. He had the only print that had most of the original footage in. There's still some missing, but he had the only print. So he kindly, you know, and with great joy and pleasure, handed the print back over for further restoration. And of course now we have the new beginning, the beginning that was formerly missing from the print that was released for the theatrical cut. But this movie tours America. This movie tours America every year, and it goes from state to state. There are towns that still show this all around the United States.
I imagine there are towns in the Midwest that refuse to show it as well due to its pagan content.
But it is a revered. I mean, my goodness me! I mean that's just the burning shots, the burning sequence. Oh my goodness me! That's I mean, it's a stunning film, especially with that very fortuitous final shot with the sunset as the man's burning, and of course it collapses, and behind it, you know, you have the sun just blazing in the distance.
So for anyone who's a fan of the movie The Eagle Has Landed, which I am, the actor here with the jumper on it is the actor Richard Wren. He plays Hans in that movie. He's the one who's injured, who Michael Caine insists goes and escapes on the boat, but they refuse to leave and the boat gets beached, if you remember. So he gets injured when they fire the bazooka at the car and he's pulled from the wreck. So, yeah.
And of course, with Witchfinder General, we have Patrick Wyman, who plays Cromwell. So there's another Where Eagles Dare link there.
God, yeah. Yeah, it's sort of same group of actors responsible for playing quite a lot of things. Inside Man's cameo there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. You never know where he's going to pop up. Good recommendation. I mean, I know it's one of those ones that you're going to give a 10 out of 10, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. It is my
Stupenzo, have you seen it?
No, we talked about it. Didn't watch it yet.
Check it out, man. If you like your insane shit, you will like this. You're almost as baffled as what is happening as Edward Woodward is, because everyone's so bloody eccentric and just downright nuts. It's pretty hilarious at times.
So Gary Bolter, who is the head of Outcasts Australia, if you're in Australia and you're in Sydney, and you want to
you're talking about Wicker Man.
You want to do creative projects like short films and
stuff.
stuff.
I saw Wicker Man, of course.
Check out Gary Bolter.
You were still talking about Christopher Lee movie.
No,
yeah, Wicker Man is great.
Christopher Lee is in the Wicker Man. What are you on about?
No, yeah, but I thought you were talking about the other one you guys brought up earlier. Okay, but yeah, Wicker Man. Both versions are great for opposite reasons. The original Wicker Man's actually creepy. The second one is like, so bad, so bad.
Was it Nicolas Cage, the remake?
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I've never seen it.
Who let the dog?
It's worth watching. It's worth watching just for the part where he's dressed like a bear and he punches out that woman.
The line kicking a lot of women though, isn't he?
I always quote the line whenever I see a bag. I'm always like, "What's in there? A shark or something?"
My favorite line. I got to be honest. My favorite line in the entire movie is when he's with the school teacher. She's on a bicycle, and he pulls his gun out and he says, "Move away from the bicycle."
Yeah.
What a line.
$2 super chat from Blue Collar Loser. Sorry I'm late. Venom 3 is out Friday. I'm going to see it. Thank you. That's the only super. Oh wait, there's another one. I got the job, Lance. Thanks for the help. Watch Saturday Night and From. Yeah, From is a good show. We need to do a special about From. I'm a big fan. I'm back in Kansas, so we can't say he's not in Kansas anymore. Gareth Evans from the Old School Solo Ravers is in the chat. Good to see you, mate. You've just arrived. We've still got a little bit to go. So available for anything, whoever wants to stream. Oh, okay, great. Okay, so you're available. Lord Toxic is available for YouTube collaborations. Well, we're going to see you on Sunday for The Shield, of course. Gareth, good friend of mine and a purveyor of excellent quality shirtwear.
That's a great, honest to goodness Welsh name there, if ever I saw one.
Gareth. He's a good egg. He's good egg. Yeah. Good egg. Good egg. Okay. Northern, your time is now. What have you got for me?
Oh, it's pretty much loads of the Evil Dead franchise. I mean, we've got the first one. That's pretty much Sam Raimi's very low budget.
So have you just done an Evil Dead binge? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I did last Saturday as well. It was on my birthday. Had a nice little bit of a 12-year-old single malt scotch while enjoying it. So yeah, I got through that and the series for the last few days as well. Ash vs Evil Dead, and they are still very good. They've still got this kooky little comic book style sort of action-packed tone to it. It's very bloody, but it's very stylish. It's very eccentric as well. And you've got Bruce Campbell playing this total fucking arsehole named Ash, but he's like the last person you want to be the hero, but he's the only person there who does stand a chance of getting you out alive, despite his stupidity and his fucking brash attitude towards life.
Well, I love the Evil Dead 2. I saw that at the cinema.
Yeah, it's because it's weird though, because the sequels kind of like retcon the last one a little bit as well, don't they? I mean, in the first Evil Dead, Ash is kind of just this fucking dweeb because it was forced to survive, and you can really tell the Bruce Campbell has no idea how to act at first. I mean, even he admits it in the commentary, and But I do still admire the first one for how resourceful Sam Raimi had to get with the special effects, and it was made in 1978, and they ran out of money like a year later, and it took a long while before they finished it, and it didn't get released till 1982, and which is amazing.
Evil Dead 2 is absolutely awesome. You can just start with Evil Dead 2. You don't have to see the first one.
Well, when you get to Ash vs Evil Dead, it kind of like puts all the fucking retcon beginnings. It makes them canon, but Evil Dead 2 is the better one because this is where Ash starts to become this sort of badass as well with the one-liners, and it shows that Bruce Campbell can be this cool action hero, even though he's like very kind of goofy at the same time. And
groovy.
Yeah. I love the scene where he's with his girlfriend. It's like, how about we lay down the fire and sip some champagne? After all, I'm a man and you're a woman. Last time I checked, and it always cracks me up. It really does.
This stuff with the hand, I think. Really works.
Someone remarked it. He was him fighting his hand like a blood splattered Rod Hullen emu, and I thought, all right, I'm using that in my video review because that is so funny and. It's very funny and it's very gruesome and very gory, but there is some good. It is very scary at the same time because he's being mentally tortured by this fucking the Necronomicon and the all these fucking deadites and demons that are surrounding the place. And then we get to the third one, Army of Darkness, and it's pure fucking slapstick, medieval epic adventure time travel kind of thing, and less horror and. Which does make it the lesser of the trilogy, but it's still a fun flick, and it kind of.
I love the third one. I thought it was as good as the second one and better than the first.
I wouldn't say it's better than the first, though, but it does. Mate,
it's got a castle. It's got a castle with a big siege with an undead army.
It's still cool.
Loved it.
It's still cool. It's also one of the first requels you can think of.
Yeah, and it does sort of give Bruce Campbell a chance to really flesh his Ash out a bit more because now this time he's more of like the bonehead who becomes the unlikely hero, and that's the character that's stuck with Ash ever since, especially in Ash vs Evil Dead, which is a fucking great way to really pick up where the last three movies left off and really flesh Ash out a bit more. You actually see him. Because he kind of starts the whole fucking case again by his own stupidity. He gets stoned with this lass and hears that she's into French poetry, and then he sees the Necronomicon and says, "Well, it ain't French, but oh well, just so he can get laid." He starts off the whole case just so he can get laid with some random chick.
Also, two is where they start to kind of find their footing tonally, because I know they talked about how the first one's too scary, and people reacted better to the funny parts. So in part 2, they decided to ham it up a bit, and then part 3, they just go full comedy mode.
Well, the first one is kind of funny, but mostly unintentionally. From the acting, isn't it?
But when it came out, the first one legit was freaking people out. Nowadays you watch it and it looks pretty silly, but when it first came out, people were scared by that movie.
Yeah, especially when he's killing his girlfriend and their fucking wig keeps changing.
Well, no one wants to get ate by a tree, do they? So
that was very shocking, and I'll give credit to the actress Ellen Sandweiss, if I'm pronouncing her name right. She kind of has defended it, and it makes sense. It's the Evil Dead. They're supposed to do evil stuff. They're supposed to care about being sensitive to the others. They're kind of very mean and mean-spirited, and they love mocking people's suffering. It's
demons.
I had a bit of a crush on Sarah Berry. She looked a bit like my first girlfriend.
Oh yeah, she's cute there. So even the lass who plays Bobby Joe, and yet the guy who plays her boyfriend on it, you're just glad to see that guy just get turned into this big blood fountain, this gazer. It's because he kind of makes things fucking worse.
This scene was proper funny when the heads all came to life and Ash just starts laughing at them and shit.
Yeah, because you can tell it's this guy who's lost his mind. I mean, they have mentally tortured him and tortured him, and he can't help but laugh at the insanity of what he's being put through.
So this must be Bruce Campbell offset eating in what would have been the canteen setup for the second movie, because you've got someone's kid wandering around. There's a dog, and
I was wondering, is this from the first one? Because I know you.
No. This is offset. This is behind the scenes shot. I guarantee it. because you can see the camera kit and stuff lying around.
Oh yeah, because the first one was really low budget, so they probably didn't have a cafeteria like that.
These shots are all from Evil Dead 2. Yeah, they wouldn't have had proper catering on the first one though. They clearly had proper catering on the second one.
And of course, the good thing about the first one is that it was the very first movie to make the video nasty list.
Yeah, because of the tree scene.
Yeah.
I thought
it was that.
I thought because of the pencil stabbing in the ankle scene. No, that did it. No, that's the thing.
It was the tree. It was the tree thing that was the main one. The pencil in the ankle was pretty horrible. The other two that were first up were Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Last House on the Left.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is brutal. Last House on the Left.
And then they just started like slapping anything on it. You know, it was like you got ridiculous things got put on it. You know, Magic Roundabout. You know, well, not quite that, but
Apocalypse Now was put on there for one reason. Right.
Was it?
It was only because they saw the word apocalypse in the title and thought that it was connected to like zombie apocalypse.
Oh right, yeah. And then you had Cannibal Holocaust. That was another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you were saying like real animal. I mean, people actually thought the people were killed for real. They actually had to bring the actors into the court, the bloody court proceedings as well.
Yeah, you're talking about Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah,
that was. I mean, because that is the very first found footage movie. And it was.
Yeah, very fucked up. Apparently, they killed real animals as well, though, didn't they? For some scenes.
I don't know. I wasn't on the set, but yeah, I mean, everybody thought that it was real. It was people thought it was a real documentary, and for that reason, it got banned like all over the fucking world. It was really hard to get hold of it, and then when I finally got to see it, by then I'd seen things like Nightmare on Elm Street, and it wasn't as big a deal. But this image of that image, I'll never forget, and they made that as an actual prop. And everybody thought it was a real body. So here you've got some behind the scenes. I actually want to rewatch this, and I kind of don't want to rewatch it.
Yeah, because there's some films you just can't go back to again. I can't go back to Last House on the Left because
the turtle scene is so awful.
Yeah. I only saw The Last House on the Left once, and that was enough for me. They remade it, didn't they? They did a remake of it at some point.
They did, yeah.
It's weird saying that because I can rewatch Ash vs. Evil Dead, especially the scene where he's fighting a dead corpse in a morgue and his intestines shove him up that corpse's ass. I don't know why. I'll still watch that, but not watch the Last House on the Left.
I told you about mentioning anal play on the channel before, man. Come on.
Yeah, you're not doing it enough. You need to up the numbers. Lance is disappointed with how little we're talking about it.
Oh dear. Yeah, this movie I remember I saw like right early on before the Merry White House campaign. I remember this was on the shelf of one of the first video stores around where I lived, which was it was a video store in Tolworth, and it was so funny. The guy kind of had they were all behind the counter. All of the videos were behind the counter, and like at the very top shelf there was all these sort of adult looking things, and then right underneath those there was basically these covers for what looked like fucking horrifying movies, and one of them was, I remember one was Cannibal Holocaust. I remember another one was The Rise and Fall of Idi Amin. That was another film that was banned for a while. Really tame when you watch it now. But Last House on the Left was another one. And then there was Dario Argento's first film was one of them. And these were all films that I'd never heard of. None of them were British. They were all in those big, boxy, old school kind of Warner Brother type clamshell video cases, and had that sort of pretty low grade production covers that weren't particularly good. I'm curious to see if I can see the Cannibal Holocaust cover that I remember. It's not any of those. It might be right at the bottom. So yeah, and that shop got raided and it got shut down. And another video store opened at the same location about 2 years later with none of the aforementioned titles. I actually think the cover might have been, I think it was this one. I think it was this cover. So you're a young kid. You wander into a video store that's kind of an exciting place for the first time. You look up at the top shelf and you see like 5 or 6 videos that've got covers like this, and you're thinking, "What the fuck's this?" I was a bit shocked. I'll be honest. So at the time it was quite disturbing to see that sort of stuff on the shelf. Maybe. I don't agree with censorship in any form. I'm very, very against it. I suspect that there were some people that got involved in this campaign whose hearts were probably in the right place, as misjudged as they were. You can look back on a film like this now, and on the one hand, think, "Oh my God, what were they thinking? Incredibly awful." And on the other hand, fucking work of genius, And I think it just kind of depends on your stance. I don't think either of them's necessarily right or wrong, but yeah.
I think there is a sanctimony in censorship. There's this. The masses will be affected by this, but us as the intelligentsia, we're not going to be affected by it. But the proletariat are going to be.
Yeah, I Spit on Your Grave definitely was another one on the list. Driller Killer was another one. You couldn't get hold of My Bloody Valentine for a while until it was recut, and then it came out as like a 15 because they cut like literally everything out of it. Yeah. So, Northern, did you have another one?
What else? Yeah, I've just finally got around to watching Longlegs. I know you've already talked about it, and if you want me to try and look for something else, I can.
Don't just give us your rating. What did you give it out of 10?
I'll give it a good 9 out of 10. It's probably one of my favorite horrors of this year. It's really unnerving. It's very disturbing. The atmosphere is just it's pure fucking on the edge. Everything on the edge of your seat. You really don't feel comfortable with every single shot that's in there. Something bad is happening around
So
you.
for anyone watching, not to be confused with Fred Astaire's Daddy Longlegs, different film. Right. So I've seen 20 minutes of it.
Watch more. It's insane.
I could tell it was good, and the reason I stopped watching it was because I was hoping to go and see it at the cinema, but I don't go and see films on my own anymore. And when you read the book, you'll understand. I'll try my book again. When you read the book, you'll understand why.
I only go to the theaters by myself. Like I'm the exact opposite.
Don't get me wrong. I like going when it's quiet. I like going when it's quiet, but I like going with someone else.
Well, that's why you need to start coming in the Discord, man, and watching the We Watches, man. That's the whole point.
Yeah, I'll do some of those. I'll do some of those with you guys. But what I saw of it was really good, and I was supposed to go and see it with a friend, and then that didn't happen, and so I just haven't gone back to it yet. I should.
And plus, you're kind of wondering what's happening as well, because apparently these people are just killing their own family, then killing themselves, and it's all connected to this weirdo played by Nicolas Cage, who is really
no spoilers because I haven't seen it.
It's kind of revealed very early on anyway. It's Nick Cage anyway.
Well, let me find out early on. Well, but
you found it pretty much early on anyway. It's not really that much of a spoiler.
Well,
but it's connected. I ain't giving you the full twist. I'm just giving you a little.
Hang on, what's going on here? I thought that was a nun giving someone. Anyway, never mind. Let's move on.
You might have almost given away the ending there, but only vaguely.
Well, only because you said so. My God. Okay. Naughty step.
But the actress on it is really good, though. I mean, she comes off a little bit. If this was any other actress in any other film, she would have come across wooden. But it makes sense for this character. She's definitely suffering some kind of trauma, and that she's repressed, and you can really see it in her face. Something's bottling up. Something is bothering her, and she doesn't know what it is.
I got all that. I got all that with just the 20 minutes of it that I saw. I think she's a great actress. I think she's really good.
She is really good. I've got a bloody name now, but I really hope she does more stuff because she actually does play. She does seem very believable and realistic.
Oh, I'm sure my moderators know that they should be reminding the chat to do this occasionally, but please smash the like button if you haven't done it already. Don't just.
Did you get some kind of Clarice Starling vibe off her though? Because I did.
Yeah, totally. They're definitely doing Silence of the Lambs. If Clarice was kind of sensitive to clairvoyancy or whatever, One thing that I read that was funny was like they're saying the actress, she said when she first saw Nicolas Cage in makeup, her pulse went up to 170, and I was like, dude, you should go to the doctor. If your resting heart rate is over 140, like that is a cardiac event, basically. Like you need to, something's happening.
Yeah, look at that Nicolas Cage in this. I can't really blame her, but but I like the fact that because Nicolas Cage, whenever he does, he goes a bit over the top with his acting. It's funny, but here it is genuinely scary and actually makes sense to this fucking weirdo that he's playing. I mean, he actually does come across as an actual fucking isolated nutcase, and Nicolas Cage does it really well, and he's genuinely bloody scary. You don't know what to think of this guy.
I love Cage. I think he's one of the best, I think he's one of the best actors we've ever had. I know he's making, you know, some nonsense stuff, but he's earned the right to do that, man. He's earned the right to.
I like Nicolas Cage when he's at his worst, as well as his best.
Well, but I think he, you know, he gets those jobs because they say we want you to go full Nick Cage on this. They get him for that reason, and he does what the director's asking him to do. I don't think he is a crap actor. I think he's always given the performance that they've asked him to give, because you can see on the stuff that's not sort of what I guess you call it kind of hyped B movie. You know, they're kind of they're hyper genre B movie films that he's doing. When he does the other
serious actor, wasn't he? He mostly was a serious actor.
I followed his career from the very beginning. From the very beginning, I followed him since he did that small role in the Cotton Club. I followed him there and thought this actor's not great, but he's kind of interesting to look at. And then he did a movie, a kind of a time travel thing that was a Mary Sue or Mary Sue goes.
Peggy Sue got married. Yeah,
Peggy Sue Got Married, which was a really like weird, tried to be a kind of cute, romantic Back to the Future time travel type film without any of the flash fun car chases or anything. And it was basically just dull. And I remember that I went to see that, I think with my girlfriend at the time. We came out of the cinema. I went, was it me or was that a bit shit? And I was like, no, it was, it wasn't very good. And then he did the really crazy film with Laura Dern, where Wild at Heart, and that
I tried watching that, but I don't know. I just maybe I was in a bad mode. I'll try and give it another go.
It's not aged brilliantly, but at the time you've got to always view these things in context. I say this in the book with quite a few films. At the time, that film was out there. It was nuts, and there weren't actors doing performances like that. And I thought, wow, this kid he's just saying fuck it. He's really going for it. And you know, but when he's reined in, he's great. So I'm sure he'll take projects, you know, where do you want to come and play an FBI director? I want you to play him completely straight. Here's your usual fee. I'm sure Cage would jump at those jobs, but he's probably not getting offered those jobs.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of films where he's really good in that are getting mentioned. Bringing Out the Dead, he is very good in that film.
Bringing Out the Dead's a great film. Good to see him.
With his paramedicals whose patients have been dying on him ever since he failed to save this little girl out in the cold, and it's kind of driving him nuts. And he's dying to get fired. He really is. He's trying to lose his job so he can be rid of it, but it's just not happening. He's always getting called into these bloody crazy cases, and you got loads of good actors popping up on there. John Goodman, Tom Sizemore.
It is good caliber of cast, that film. Lord Toxic thinks his best role is in Face Off. Yeah, I like him in Face Off. I like him in The Rock. Face Off is great because he gets to play two, you know, he does a Lance Guest in Last Starfighter, where you're getting to do two performances in one film, which is always
he's very restrained when he plays the John Travolta part. It's John Travolta that goes full Nick Cage in this film for the majority of it, anyway.
Put the bunny back in the box.
Yeah,
I do like The Rock.
But as a talk show guest, he's 24 carat.
Oh yeah, same with Terry Rocken, where he was high on cocaine, karate chopping everyone.
Is that clip on YouTube? We got to see that.
It's gotta be.
Do you want to have a quick look for it? See if you can find it.
Have a look. Yeah.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Nicholas,
was the one where he was
Yeah, I got it.
talking
I got
on
it.
a talk show where he was talking about his cat.
Oh, let's have a look at this. Okay, we got to see this.
Oh, it's crazy. I love
Share
him.
screen, audio. Here we go. There it is.
All right, let's have a look. Let's have a look, guys.
Welcome, Nicolas Cage.
Oh, I remember this where he was like giving money away and shit.
How you doing, Well, I'm just
Actors.
Yeah, that's definitely
I
someone
love his guest appearance in Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I really do. Listen to Nicolas Cage anyway.
That is definitely someone who's done a big line of Uncle Charles right there, and the good stuff.
Uncle Charles. He did a big old gator tail, is what we call those back down here in the South.
Nick Cage smooch is good.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to start to wrap up now. It's 1:45. We normally try and finish around midnight. Couple of announcements, though. Let's get into those first. Quite a few things happening on the channel. So first of all, I've got a new permanent slot. I've got a new permanent show, which took me ages to come up with this title, which I'm sure you'll all agree is very imaginative. Which here we go. Fantastic thumbnail from my good man Stupenzolicious. Late Night with Lancey is always happening around midnight on Thursday. So either just before or just after midnight. On Halloween, it'll be about half midnight because I'm going to see a play that night. But half midnight on Halloween, which will be earlier for people in the States, I'm going to be doing a horror special. Just going to be talking about good horror films that I really like. I'll probably focus on the ones that are going to be in my book. Bit of a plug, of course, because we'll be about a month away from it dropping at that time.
Shameless.
Absolutely. I'm going to be shamelessly plugging it between now and then. That is indeed, yes, look, that is indeed Gareth. This is why I call him the man with the quality shirtwear. That's Gareth in the red, in the not the lady with the shade, with the red shirt with his big hand out. I do love you, mate. I love that picture as well. It's a great picture. That's us at Peach birthday at Coco. What a great time we had. It's fantastic. And yeah, so and I'm doing it regularly on Thursday. Occasionally I might do it at other random times, like yesterday when we decided to talk about UFOs. It's going to be predominantly where we talk about stuff that's not like film and TV. So and it's open to any YouTuber who is available. If I haven't got too many people on already, you can pop in the chat and give me a shout. And if if I want to bring you on, I will. And probably an 80% chance I'll probably bring you on. So it's kind of an open, bit of an open house situation. So any YouTubers welcome. Apart from Lord Toxic, of course, who's already on one of my streams. That's more than enough. So I am joking, Tox. You can be there. So yeah, kind of different topics. We did a mental health one last week, which was quite important, I thought. And you know, sometimes we'll talk about more serious stuff. Sometimes it will be kind of quite light. But the Halloween one will be a horror focus. This week, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I'll be there. So just after midnight, which is just after open bar. Because I'm always up late doing open bar anyway, and I figure, oh, you know what, I might as well do a slot on Thursday. So yeah, so there you go. So we're going to be doing that. Also, this Thursday at 7 p.m., which is earlier than I normally like to do, and coincidentally, the name of this person links into the Nicolas Cage topic. Danny Lyons is coming on for an interview. So for anyone who's familiar with the Clubland in London, he's a major MC and DJ, particularly on the rave scene, and has been around on that scene since the early 90s. So I've got him coming on for an interview at 7 o'clock on Thursday, and that's part one of two, because we're going to cover quite a wide range of topics. So I've got Danny coming on. I've also got Jeffrey Byron, the actor Jeffrey. Sorry, yeah, it's Jeffrey Byron coming on. Now, I didn't know this about Jeffrey, and he's coming on next Monday. He's coming on slightly earlier than normal, 4 p.m. It'll be UK time. I didn't know this about Jeffrey, that he comes from a Hollywood dynasty. So his mother was a really well-known Hollywood actress that had been around for a really, really long time. I'm going to bring her picture up, actually, because obviously, you know, when I bring my guests on, I don't just want to talk to them about the stuff that I know they did already. I like to research them properly and have loads of other questions ready, and I plan on doing exactly that. And so of course, while researching Jeffrey's biography, and he's been in the industry since he was a kid, so I'm going to sort of ask him about that. You know, what's that like to sort of does he feel like he missed out on his childhood? Anyway, Inside Man, who's been alive since the late 1800s, will definitely know this actress. No, joking aside, I think you will know this actress because she was in a lot of black and white films when it's Anna Lee. Very, very well-known Hollywood icon. That is Jeffrey Byron's mother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when I read that, I was like, oh my God, you know. So she did all these, you know, quite well-known movies, some B movies and stuff, but she did loads of theatre and just a bit of a Hollywood institution. She's been around a long time. So How Green Was My Valley was one of the bigger movies that she did. But yeah, so he comes from this, and his godfather was John Ford. So
wow.
I mean, yeah, and of course we had somebody else on the channel who got to go on a John Ford set who I interviewed. But yeah, so his godfather was John Ford. So imagine that. And then his mother did all these movies. So, I mean, you can imagine the dinner parties. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What a fantastic. And I as soon as I saw her, I recognized her straight away. I know I'd seen her in she was in King Solomon's Mines, the original black and white.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she was the main sort of, you know, the blonde heroine in that film. Then she was also in Like Flint, you know, the James Coburn, James Bond ripoff.
Oh, they're great. Yeah, they're
she
terrific.
was also in Mutiny on the Bounty, the Marlon Brando, Trevor Howard version.
Goodness me. So
you know, yeah, Bedlam, another great film from the black and white era. So he's going to be such a. I mean, I've got to be, you know, careful not to sort of like talk to him about his mum too much because it's his interview. But I dare say that he'll want to give her a nod because obviously she would have played a massive influence. And so this is for the Flying Tigers. So no doubt he would have met people like John Wayne and so on. So yeah, so most people will know Jeffrey Byron from B-movie science fiction pictures of Charlie Bands, which I'll show a couple of clips of quickly in a minute. But yeah, just to discover that he's kind of part of this whole family history, I just know he's going to be an incredible guest. So do try and tune in. That's on Monday at 4 o'clock UK time. A lot of people are going to be at work at that time. Obviously, it stays on the channel. You can catch it up later. We've got Anti-Derivative Jill in the chat, who's got a fantastic channel on Star Trek and does a lot of stuff to do with science fiction. She's currently been breaking down For All Mankind. I've been telling my panelists to watch For All Mankind. Has anybody dived in yet? Has anybody dived in to watch that show yet?
Not yet.
Oh, I keep forgetting about that.
It's on the list.
There's so much.
Very long list. So more news. Another interview that we have secured. Inside Man, are you ready to cream your cheese?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
let me get the Kleenex first.
Consider your cheese positively curdled because we've got another giant from 2000 AD coming on. Can you guess who?
It wouldn't be JW, would it?
No. Try again.
It's not. Right. Oh my goodness me! It isn't.
Yeah, it is. We got
It
Pat
is
Mills. We got
Pat Mills. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh, that's amazing.
we've
I've
got
got his book. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh,
we've
fantastic.
got Pat Mills coming on the channel. One of the originators, really very responsible for taking Judge Dredd into its golden era. Tomby's going to be my co-host on that.
Oh my
So
God. His book is amazing. It's an amazing book.
well, mate, if you're free, and you want to come on that as well, I'll try and bring you on for a little bit.
Oh yeah. Even if it's just for 5 minutes, I would love it. I would love it.
No, we'll sort it.
Oh, thank you so much. That's amazing.
So guys,
Wow.
we have got Pat Mills coming on. The date for that just got confirmed today. So, Stupenzo, another thumbnail for you to
Sure
do.
thing.
Actually, that picture would be good. Do you want me to send you the link for that?
Yeah,
because that picture works because it's already got all the stuff behind. Yeah, so Pat is coming on in November, and he's coming on Friday, the 15th of November at 8 p.m. UK time. 8 p.m. UK time, and he's in his 70s now, so it's great that we've got him. I remember on the documentary, he's the one that swore a lot all the way through the documentary, wasn't he?
What in the Future Shock documentary?
Yeah. So just on that basis alone, he's going to be.
God, he's such an interesting man. I cannot tell you how interesting this man is.
No,
I'm just. Oh my God.
I'm really looking forward to getting him on. We've also got Cindy Pickett coming on in November. I still haven't locked down the date with her yet, but she did say November, so hopefully that'll all still go according to plan. So I'm well on my way to cracking 100 industry interviews before the new year. That's the target. So don't be afraid to send suggestions my way. I am talking to a load of other people already, and it's not just the big boys. I'm interested in talking to DOPs, makeup artists, people that do visual effects, special effects, practical effects. As well as people that worked on things like iconic things like 2000 AD. I remember this cover, man. I used to have this issue. So and that one, yeah. So can't wait to talk to Pat Mills. Going to be a great interview. Don't think we'll have enough time to get through all the stuff. Yeah, and I've also got 2 DJs coming on in November as well. So that's another thing. And they are what we're doing here, which is one of the things I want to try and do when the opportunity presents itself, is to get someone who's quite experienced in the industry at whatever they're doing. Like, for example, a makeup artist that's been working in this industry for 20 years. I'd love to get them on with somebody who's been working in the industry for a year. And that's what I'm doing with this interview. So I've got Adele Adanya coming on, who's a really big name in the trance music scene in the UK, and Charmin Love, who's an up-and-coming DJ from Brighton, who's making quite a big name for herself down there. So we're bringing them on together. So that's going to be a really interesting industry interview. That's also in November. I think that's on November the 8th. But it's already up on the channel, so you guys can check that out. So quite a lot of interesting content coming up, both in the remainder of this month and also next month. I'm just going to give you guys a quick reminder of who Jeffrey Byron is, because he starred in this.
In a future that grows ever closer, the fate of our Earth will lie in the hands of one man, a solitary warrior of great courage. His name is Dogen, and he is called the Finder. His enemies will emerge.
He is a warrior in a wasteland without mercy.
It's the little guy.
He has survived where countless others have died.
Good shot, huh?
He has destroyed all that would kill him.
Out of control.
He is the only one who can face the challenges of the Dungeon Master.
Yeah, that film was also known as Rage War: The Challenges of Excalibrate when it was released in the UK. Yeah, so Stupenzo, what you got coming up, buddy? What do you want to plug?
Well, one more movie I want to recommend. Maybe we'll talk about it next week, but it's called Mads, and it's French, and it's a clubbing movie. It's a zombie movie. It was done all in one take, or a seamless.
Oh no, I want to look at this now quickly. What's it called?
Mads, M-A-D-S. It was pretty cool. It was wild. It was fun, violent, cool, like clubbing movie with zombies, and federal agents, army people running around, machine gunning people, and a lot of car chases and all this stuff. And like I said, it's done pretty well done, seamless one take type movie. So it was cool. So that was fun. Maybe we'll talk about it next week.
What's that available on? Where can you see that?
I don't know. It's Shudder, I think.
That's interesting.
MADS 2024.
Yeah, no, I found the IMDb.
Okay.
There's almost no photos, which is annoying, but there is a trailer.
Yeah, the trailer dropped. I saw the trailer just for the first time a few days ago, and that was spreading around. And then just a few days later, the movie's out. Again, promotions, folks. It's important to promote your movie. You got to hype people up.
Yeah,
it's like I was in a band where we had an album come out, and we kind of just released the album as soon as it was ready. And we realized you got the album ready, the movie's ready. You should sit on it for like half a year and promote it. That's what you should do.
Yeah. I think that's
but it was cool. If zombies aren't your bag, I don't know. You might not like it. I liked it.
Let's have a look at it.
But yeah, the trailer doesn't really do a good job of showing. It is all one take.
It's like a new dodgy drug that turns people into zombies.
I think that's what it is, but not really. It seems like these people are just on drugs while zombies are running around.
Zombie Monte.
I feel like they cheated. I couldn't tell if they did. It was pretty good. I mean, there's probably some parts where that are like in dark rooms that would have been good times to clip it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, it's one of those movies that you think is going to be pretty low budget, and it's like, no, I mean, if it is low budget, they did a good job with the budget they had.
Let me bring him down a bit here. Yeah, it looks.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Not a terribly complex film,
No.
But
most horror films tend not to be terribly complex.
Yeah. And as far as other stuff, I mean, I thought it was good.
What's going on here? He's doing his Nicolas Cage shit in that scene.
Time is a flat circle, Lance.
Yeah. So they say. Jill thinks.
Is this what your raves are like, Lance?
I hope
This is
what
not.
my raves were like. Yeah.
No, my raves are awesome, man.
All right. But that being said, other stuff I got on my channel. I did another live stream last night where we fell down the Mad Cat Lady rabbit hole, which was insane. We also watched the Addams Family special. We'll be doing some more of that stuff next week for Halloween, Sunday and Monday. Maybe Tuesday, Thursday, this Wednesday, we got Chopping Mall audio commentary, full length coming out.
Yeah, I love that film.
That's going to be a fun one. Dick Miller.
That's got Kelly Maroney in it.
Yeah, and the riff is me, my cousin, and Dudicus. So we got a holy trinity going. It was pretty good fun time watching a stupid movie with the boys.
I've tried to get her on the channel before, but she's sort of very much on the convention circuit, and sort of her and Catherine, the two girls from the movie where it's a zombie movie from the 80s where everybody turns to zombies.
Night of the Comet, which and Luke and Lord Toxic riffed recently as well.
Yeah, good film.
Great film.
Got the soundtrack on vinyl, man.
So we got that coming up. I got a few other good horror movies for this, and also November too. I'm going to keep doing the horror movies. Next Thursday, Halloween, at the stroke of midnight on Halloween, I'm going to release a We Watch for a Goosebumps marathon. Me and various other homies have been watching a bunch of episodes of Goosebumps, and also I'm still recording them this week. So it might be like a 9-hour video. I don't know. It might be 3 hours long. It might be 8 hours long. I don't know. We watched like 12 episodes so far. So,
all right.
It's going to be a pretty fun Halloween tonight, next week. So
more than
ready for that.
Quick plug for anything.
Yeah, Thursday will be Penguin episode 5, Homecoming. Hopefully, Toxic will be on that. Fandad, if you might still be on it. Anyone's invited if they want to come on. Was going to do a Halloween stream with the regular lads, but because Fandad's got something booked, I'm gonna move it to next Friday. Which means a day after Halloween itself.
Well, you can come on mine if you fancy staying up late, but it is a late one. But you're welcome to come on it if you want to.
I'll see if I'm up late anyway. We'll see.
You might be busy with other Halloween activities.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Or I might on Friday I might try and do like a quick stream reviewing 3 movies that I've seen: The Substance, Hellboy the Crooked Man, and Longlegs. Because I really do want to talk about these 3 movies. I really do.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, look, just want to say the channel's getting a lot of support at the moment, guys. Got to say, and for those people watching, I need to tell you that this YouTube channel has become quite important to me. It's got me through some very, very difficult times, and I can't tell those people watching and all those people that have subscribed how much your support means to me. It means a huge amount. I'm slowly creeping up towards 5,000 subs, and to hear that the channel's actually now being pushed by YouTube. I've had 3 people say that to me now, that the channel got recommended to them by YouTube. That's great to hear that, because I haven't, until this week, I hadn't heard that before. So it just goes to show that the hard work is starting to pay off. I'm now 319 subs away from 5K. So we're at 4,681. So there'll be a celebration stream when we hit 5K. As per usual, all my usual collaborators will be welcome to come on that, and it will be a bit of a kind of unscripted laugh. I don't know when that will be, but I really appreciate the support. I really appreciate the collaborators. The collaborators are the people that make it happen, especially my regulars, not just the big shots like Critical Drinker, although of course their support has been absolutely crucial. But my co-host here, the Inside Man, Northern English Bastard, Stupenzo, and of course Blue Collar Loser, who's currently cleaning a bus, so that's why he's not here. And there's dozens of others: Retro Nerd Girl, Anti-Derivative Jill, loads of people. I've been on their channels, they've been on mine. It's great, and this is why when I see a small channel come on my channel and comment in the chat, that's why I always invite them on, because that's the kind of mutual support that I believe in. Collaboration is really what this channel is all about. It's called The Outcast Creative for a reason. We are creative people that operate outside the main system, but we love creating and we love supporting people that create. That's what we do. So speech over, but thank you very much for coming on. Thanks to my panelists for their great suggestions and recommendations. I'm sure the Inside Man will have more creepy suggestions next week.
Oh yeah.
Or we may go back to Italian gangster flicks. We'll see.
Yeah.
But he said, "Is that what your raves are like, Lance?" No, they're like this.
legend.